What's up guys, Max here, and we're returning with the top 5 characters we don't want to see return to Street Fighter V. Of course, this is an opinion-based video, so please understand, I don't absolutely hate these characters, but in the huge roster that Street Fighter IV already has, these are the 5 I would hope don't make an initial appearance in Street Fighter V. Starting with number 5 is Abel. Abel was unique to the Street Fighter IV universe since the vanilla version that debuted back in 2008. Acting as the title's close-range command grabber, he's from France and probably the driest of all personalities in the game. He's got a mysterious background which does link him to Seth in some way, but oh my gosh, I don't want to see Abel make a return at all. I've always felt his character design was never that great. He's kind of the MMA fighter of the Street Fighter universe, and the more I saw him over time, even though he is kind of a high-skill character, was never really that fun to watch, and I think another person can fit this spot in the roster quite a bit. I know there's some Abel fans out there, not trying to offend you guys, but man, I want to see somebody else. The number 4 spot also belongs to a newcomer to the Street Fighter IV universe, making their appearance in 2008, and it's El Fuerte. The luchador wrestler that is obsessed with cooking breaks the mold gameplay-wise than almost any other Street Fighter character in this game. So many people complaining about fighting this guy, and right now in the current version of Street Fighter IV, he got so much better that he's probably one of the most hated matchups, especially online. Now, even though El Fuerte does have some fairly fun to perform run-stop fierce combos, and he can be kind of crazy to use if all of your stuff lands, he does absolutely rely on your opponent guessing wrong. He's a 50-50 character, he splashes in front of you, he splashes behind you, and you have to make these huge guesses on where the heck this guy is going. I would prefer El Fuerte to kind of get kicked out of Street Fighter V and maybe considered way down the line after we figure out how Street Fighter V is playing, and maybe his playstyle will fit a little bit more after the game is established. I'm sorry, El Fuerte, I don't hate you, I'm just sick of hearing your freaking voice. Number 3 is the original final boss to the game. It's Seth. Seth was playable in Street Fighter IV from the get-go when the console version was released, and he essentially takes all the moves of all the Street Fighter characters with a little bit of originality. However, at the same time, Seth is a very, very, very weird character design with a yin-yang in his belly, and I still don't know what the hell's going on in there. He took extra damage amongst the rest of the roster because he's technically unfair with the amount of tools he has, and he can be played extremely well at high level, but you kinda need to go freaking nuts with him. And in the pantheon of Street Fighter final bosses, even though there's actually not a lot when you really think about it, it's kinda Gil and Bison, I find Seth really falls short, and for a final boss, I don't find him dramatically interesting. He's just about as interesting as that weird dude in the Street Fighter Alpha animated movie. Number 2 belongs to a character that made his appearance in Super Street Fighter IV and is easily one of the weirdest looking of all the characters in the game. Hakan, I still have no idea what the hell is going on top of your head. Hakan's fighting style is meant to emulate oil wrestling. He has to continuously oil himself up, and for some reason when fire hits him, he's not dead immediately. Hakan, while kind of fun at the start and a lot more interesting now than he was back in the day, is just one of the weirdest characters to look at. And when he moves around and slides on the ground and easily does some of the most cringe-worthy ultras in the game, I will say one thing, his wife is pretty hot.
Ah, there you are!
And last but not least, the number 1 spot goes to a character that we've seen all too much over the past 7 years of the game's existence, and is also unique to Street Fighter IV, and is easily one of the most annoying to fight against. You already know who I'm talking about, it's Rufus. I got a personal big beef with this character. The biggest reason is that they were looking for a character to emulate from Street Fighter 3, moving into Street Fighter 4, and that character was Yoon or Yang. From the dive kick to the forward heavy punch to the forward medium kick, and there's even more examples, he looks exactly like Yoon in a lot of different ways. And they even added Yoon a bit later, which further cements the fact that Rufus doesn't need to be in the game anymore. Nothing against fat characters, I actually don't mind Bob very much from Tekken, but something about Rufus and his freaking grotesque happy trail I cannot stand. I'm done with him, I'm done looking at him, and there is only one way that you're gonna get Rufus to make an appearance again in Street Fighter V that will make me happy, and it's to go back to the original Rufus design. The one that did not make it into the game. The original Rufus. If you can make it, Capcom, I would love to see this, because if I have to hear this guy screaming space opera symphony for another 10 years, I'm probably gonna yak.
No way!
Goodbye indeed. Thank you dudes very much for watching. I think that some of these characters could even make an appearance in Street Fighter V, even though it's against my personal judgment, because after a while this game is going to get characters, it's going to get downloadable characters, and potentially Street Fighter V could have a roster that could fill every single character in the Street Fighter universe if it is successful enough. And even though I might not like your specific character, or if you are one of these 5 characters and they're your favorite, there's nothing wrong with that. You're allowed to like them. People hate the crap out of Ken, and I love the crap out of Ken. So with that in mind, let me know the top 5 characters you do not want to see in Street Fighter V. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching. My name is Maximilian, and I'll see you next time.